Hey gang, thanks for tuning in today. I am so excited to bring you this video. Has anybody noticed the prices at the drugstore seem to be creeping up and up and up? Instead of an average price of something being around $4, it's gonna be around like 10. I feel like that's the trend. So I was thinking, why don't we do a video focusing on all the favorites that are under $5? Because there are some good gems out there. Some really fantastic products that I think are gonna create a look that will really impress you. Yes, it's another full face video, two back to back. Sorry if that's not your thing. But I really think demonstrating these in action is going to say more than just me sitting here rattling them off. Now there's one situation where a product is exactly at $5. I couldn't, the thing is so good, you might even know what it is. It costs exactly $5 and it was too good to let that little technicality get in the way. Everything else is truly under $5. Also, I was noticing with other products and all this stuff, like it's stuff I've had and then I later went up and I looked up the price just to be sure what it was. I didn't go out and say, I want to do an under $5 video and just do a massive haul and then here I am. I've worked with some of this stuff for quite a long time, but in looking up the prices to make sure it fit for this video, there are some things where they'd be marked down and their markdown price put them under $5, but their regular price would be like $6 or $7. And so I didn't go with anything that was like that. I'm going by the regular price. Another thing to note is that Walmart will usually give you the lowest price on a regular basis on most things. So yay, I'm super excited to share this. Let's start out with a couple of prep steps. First off, the lips. e.l.f. Lip Exfoliator has got to be one of the best things that's under $5. I believe it hits at right about $3. It comes in multiple scents. This is the sweet cherry one that I have, but it's just like a gritty stick. It's a lip balm basically that has been highly concentrated with grit, like a sugary scrub. And somehow, even though I apply quite a bit of pressure to the lips when I do this, the stick does not like mush over to the side or anything. I feel like I get a great exfoliation on them. I think this would be a nice product to get a couple. Keep one where you do your makeup, keep another one where you get ready for bed, you know. But I kind of just spend a little time scrubbing it all over my lips and then you can just sort of wipe away any residue that might be there, but you're setting yourself up for a really good starting point for doing your makeup. And somehow, even though I've just scrubbed all over them, the little bit of moisturization that's still in the stick, like I can feel that on my lips right now. Okay, here's a great primer. I don't think I talk about it enough. I'm about to probably run out of this primer pretty soon, but it's from Wet n Wild and it is the Water Drop Primer and I have this in the Cucumber. I also recently got it in the Rose scent, but this is gonna fall under $5 and I really like the added kind of layer of moisturization that I get out of this. This one's kind of a greenish color and it smells so good, so refreshing. Oh my gosh. And while it squeezes out kind of looking like a cream, it does kind of thin down as you blend it on your skin, but you still feel like, okay, I've got my extra moisture here. For the foundation we're gonna use today, I think it really works well. It's along the lines of the same scents that they have in their sprays. So like the Cucumber, Coconut, Rose, is there another one? I'm not sure. But it gives me a very consistently hydrated feel all over the skin. Now here's the foundation pick, guys. It is hard to find an under $5 foundation. It really is. One that's really good. And this Rimmel Stay Matte is $4 and change, and I wear it in the shade Light Buff. It says full coverage mattifying foundation. Now, long ago, I can't remember which channel it was on, probably the Express channel, I did review this, but it's actually been years since I've really played around with this stuff. And as I used it again here more recently, it reminded me so much of a product from L'Oreal. Let me show you. I want to say like a year ago at this time, I was kind of getting into this Infallible Total Cover, and they are like the very same consistency. They're sort of a thick mousse-like feeling foundation, and they both truly have exceptional coverage. What gets me is that this one is going to be more than double the price of this for such a similar experience on the skin. Now, I will say that this is probably an ideal foundation. If we're talking who is this best for, probably my oily and combo skin people out there. People who like a matte finish, people who really go for the full coverage. But there are 3 to 4 things that make this work really nicely still on my normal skin. Number 1, prepping my skin very well. Even before that primer went on, you know, I've got my Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base on, I've got a pretty moisturizing SPF on as well, so my skin is ready for it. Number 2, applying it with a dampened beauty blender, I think gives me the most natural look on the skin. Also, not applying too much, which can be kind of hard to manage with this because it is a squeezy tube, not a pump. So you've got to really watch yourself and don't squeeze out too much. It's always my gut instinct when I'm using a foundation, like to use a little too much the first time and then I dial it back and get in a sweet spot with it. But then the last thing would be a setting mist, using something that really does keep your look refreshed throughout the day, not just right after you finish your look. So those are a few ways that I think this foundation stays looking its freshest on me with normal skin, kind of verging on dry skin right now. It's not about staying power. This stays really well and really evenly, but if you want it to look more skin-like, follow those tips. So that's what we're gonna do right now. I'm going to squeeze out what looks like a small pea-sized amount, I would say. Yeah, think about the smaller peas you know about, not the bigger ones. And the texture is really interesting. You know, it does feel kind of moussey, but it's not too dry. So where I like to patch this on first are the areas where I know I want the most coverage. I feel like I'm even getting a little melasma on that upper lip this time. I know it's a very common area to get it. I've never noticed it there on myself before personally, but I'm seeing it there now. So I like to patch it around and I'm gonna use a beauty blender. Yeah, not every tool and brush in this video is gonna be under 5, but I could see that almost being a whole separate video in itself because I use plenty of things on a regular basis that are under 5 where that stuff is concerned. But bouncing this into the skin with the beauty blender, I think I still get really full coverage, but it ends up looking a little more natural than it does with a brush. Just a bit more worked into the skin. Oh no, I got some in my hair. Where was that? Literally just blended into your hair. I find it doesn't set too fast on the skin, so I don't have to be in a huge rush to get everywhere and get it all worked in. It's not at all like difficult to work with. So tremendous coverage, but I still feel like, you know, the skin was pretty well moisturized. It does not look too heavy and thick on there, and it will wear on me a really long time. Now we're gonna move on to the concealer I picked. This is the thing that is right at $5. It's the e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I've talked about it so much. I mean, it really is, I think, the cream of the crop with these super full coverage, Tarte Shape Tape level, liquidy doe foot applicator concealers. This is where it's at for that. I wear the shade Medium Sand, which, I mean, seems lighter than you would think medium sand would be. But again, a key for me to making this work is to not apply too much. I don't need to draw on a fully filled in triangle here. I just need the dots, and then I can blend them out with my beauty blender. I'm getting around redness here. I'm getting around any places where I might have a little extra darkness. And this shade gives me a little bit of extra brightness on the skin. I kind of like blending it out with my beauty blender. I think it gives it a nice spread across the skin, but another great option if you've got it laying around is a flat foundation brush. Look at the tremendous coverage. I mean, what melasma? Like, where did that go? But I think the situation a lot of people get into when they're thinking things look dry and cakey later in the day is a lot of times an over application of product. And I know because I've been there. I've done that a lot. Like I said, when a product is new to me, sometimes it's my gut instinct to apply way too much of it. But then you dial it back and you're like, oh, it really only takes a little with certain things. And then it wears the most evenly and looks the most fresh, the longest on my skin. So I feel so covered right now. I really like using the Beauty Blender for those steps. I think it makes them look their most natural. And then we're gonna bop on an under $3 powder here, my e.l.f. Translucent Powder. It's a pressed powder. I really like this stuff. I do think this would be a great little touch-up on-the-go powder. If you don't really care about adding too much coverage, but you just wanna mattify, even out. Using my small tapered brush, and I'll just very lightly, with just a little product on the brush, set my under eye, and I'll set my T-zone as well. These products that I'm wearing don't need a ton of help in the setting department, but it really will help my all-day wear if I do this. And keep in mind, I got a lot of moisture going on underneath all this as well. Man, I need some coffee. It is early on this July 4th morning when I'm shooting this. We're going to a little cookout, and I am responsible for the mac and cheese. I'm making a new recipe. It requires a roux to be made. The recipe requires shredding your own cheese. I hope it works out. For bronzer, I'm going old school. I'm going to one of the earlier bronzers used consistently on this channel. Also something I remember my friend Kaylee like getting and completely using and buying again and using. It's the Rimmel Natural Bronzer, and I have it in the shade Sunlight. This comes in multiple shades. This is a really, like, I think middle of the road bronzer shade that can work, and it's a matte one. They have one that I think has a little bit of sheen in it, but it is a great basic bronzer. I was using this the other day and thinking like it doesn't look too dry on my skin. It doesn't look too powdery, chalky or anything. It just gives me that little sun-kissed tone that I'm looking for, and it can double as a pretty effective contour just right in here under the cheekbone. It just kind of gets me how you at one time may have used something really, really consistently, and then in the spirit of trying something new and always trying the latest thing, you move around a lot, and then you go back to some of those earlier favorites and you're like, you know what was really the point? So I enjoy this bronzer. I think it's giving my skin a little bit of dimension, but it's not like taking me over the top. It's not difficult to use. It would have been a nice product too in my last video about products that are just easy to apply and kind of foolproof. So yeah, Rimmel Natural Bronzer, gonna come in under $5 and work really well for you. Okay guys, let's get excited. It's blush time, and this is a very, very impressive product for under $5. I've talked about how great these Profusion blush palettes are. You're gonna find them at Walmart for like $4 and change. They're gonna come really close to $5, but they're definitely under $5. And they are just spectacular. There are two options. This is the blush one, which I actually think has a ton of intensity in it. Like everything in here is really pigmented, but then there's a blush 2 with even deeper, richer shades. But something I also like here is that if you want a little goldeny glow to the skin, if you want to add just a little something, just a gentle sheen on top of that bronzer you applied, you've got that there. These shades, even though they look light, they really do show up. Let me prove it to you. This shade called Blossom, this light pink, it shows on the skin. Even though it looks kind of light in the compact, you get the freshest, youthful, just baby cheek look. And this is a matte one. Blossom and Delight are matte. Bronzite has some sheen. Bashful and Sweetheart and Popular all have a little bit of glow to them. Popular though, it's kind of like one of those where it looks like it's got a little sparkle, but that doesn't really come off much on the skin. But look at this Blossom shade, like, oh, you'll find so many fun little combos in this palette as you mix and overlap and whatever. I can't stress enough, if you see this, do not skip over it at Walmart. Now, we're gonna take the brush that I typically use for highlight and we're gonna go into Bashful, which is a really pretty glowy shade. And I'm gonna show you how gorgeous this is, topping off my blush and kind of acting like a bit of a highlight here. Yes, it's like a pinky, really brightening highlight. And I can't get over it. It's so nice. Like, the effect is just downright ethereal. No, this ain't no pregnancy glow. This is everybody's glow just waiting for you at under $5 at Walmart. Good Lord. I truly feel no need to reach for a separate highlighter in this situation because my cheeks are just popping. And I love the rosiness of this shade. This kind of like a NARS Orgasm type color here, more peachy over on this side. Again, with the kind of goldeny borderline, little bit of rose gold glow in that shade. It's just dynamite. Now we're gonna put on a little bit of mist. This mist comes in at under $5 and it's been around quite a long time. e.l.f. has had this as part of their line, the Makeup Mist and Set, for some time, and it works quite well, I must say. It's nice as a refreshing mist. It's nice to set your makeup. Let me just do that. Do not underestimate the small size of the bottle or just look at the sprayer and think, well, is that gonna be anything fantastic? It gives you the nicest big fan of mist, even better than some high-end bottles of mist. But again, like I was saying, one of the tricks to really helping a foundation like this look so fresh, I think putting a setting mist on and then also using it like a touch-up throughout the day. I think this is $3 or $4. Oh, also guys, yes, enjoying The Sopranos, but we're taking a little break from it because I really, really was eager to get in on Big Little Lies. So we're watching that, which is just Meryl Streep, you know, like she is so good and so believable in her role. I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I'm enjoying that. And also the other show I've been watching is on Lifetime. If you're into cheerleading, I'm sure there's a way you can catch up on the episodes, but Cheerleader Generation, it's about the current coach of Ole Miss, and then her mom is a coach of Dunbar High School in Kentucky. And I've said this before, but before makeup was my thing, cheerleading was my thing, you know, and it's fascinating for me to see the dynamic between, you know, the college squad, the high school squad. They've each got their own goals and kind of the mentoring role the mom plays to the daughter, but the daughter seems very strong-willed and knows how she wants to do things as well. It's very cool to see a cheerleading focused show to me. And I'm behind a couple episodes on that, but it's really good. Brows. This is my infamous $2 e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil. I have it in the shade Deep Brown, and it's got the spoolie on one end, the pencil on the other. other, but it is not as skinny as some itty bitty skinny brow pencils are. It's still, I mean, you've seen me use this time and time again on my channel. It works really effectively and might give you a little quicker fill-in than some of those finer pencils. If you're needing something for the purpose of getting hair-like strokes, you may still want to look to some of those really, really skinny pencils. But see how I've already got some existing brow hair, but I'm looking for something to kind of fill the gaps and even out? This does exactly that. It wears well. Like, I seriously have no complaints about this product. You can find it at Walmart. You can find it on e.l.f.'s website. I think Ulta.com sells this too. When in doubt, if there's something e.l.f.-wise you're looking for in this video and you can't find it in the store, e.l.f.'s website is gonna have it. And talking about brands creeping up their price-wise, I mean, e.l.f. is one of those brands that does do that. They're putting out palettes that are, you know, around $10. Different things that are just really like typical drugstore prices, but at the same time they are holding on to some very, very reasonably priced things. I should link below to the video where I tried like e.l.f.'s cheapest products, some of the $1 and $2 things that are still on their website or being sold in stores or wherever. That was kind of an interesting video. I find the spoolie really helpful once you've gone through all of the filling in, because this pencil is, it's not too creamy, but it's got a little of that, and you'll notice things evening out once you kind of brush through, so I wouldn't skip that step. Here's another thing that, I don't know, I'm using it in this video. It's not my favorite just drugstore brow gel, but I'm using it today. It definitely is under $5. And it's this e.l.f. one that has the two sides. One says eyebrow, one says eyelash. I ultimately use them both on brows. I just kind of use up one side and then go to the other. I don't think this holds as well as NYX Control Freak, but it does fit the budget in this video, so it's plenty good enough. Like, I took it with me to Destin, I used it. I didn't like resent it or anything, but that NYX Control Freak, if you have especially unruly brows that just do not want to stay down, NYX Control Freak may be the answer you're looking for there. Small cheat step here. This is not under $5. It's right around it, but it's a little bit over. So Milani eyeshadow primer, I'm sorry, I have to use it. I just have to. I don't feel like I have on this channel a whole lot of product loyalty. Like, you know, I'll only ever use this, but this is an eyeshadow primer that I really do trust, and I'm wearing this look out to a 4th of July barbecue today, and this is what I'm using, I'm sorry. In terms of what is available under $5, I know Essence has some like doe foot applicator, I think, eye primers available. I haven't really dug into those deep enough to know how well they work, but I know I can count on this. Okay, we're gonna move on to eyeshadow now, and this is another situation where Profusion is killing it. To preface this, there will be some good eyeshadow quads in the drugstore, some from Wet n Wild, smallish palettes from Maybelline, from Rimmel that might, you know, actually exceed $5. They're really good though. Well, what Profusion's doing is saying, I'm gonna put 10 shades in a palette. We're gonna price it just under $5, and they are amazing. The ones that I have the smoky one. Let me show you that. This is the one where when I was doing a celebrity inspired video, I did like a Carrie Underwood inspired smoky eye with this one. I love the tones in here. I love this brown and this kind of mauve-y shade mixed in with some really cool stuff. Terrific consistency in the finishes. I mean, their mattes are amazing and buttery and smooth, but I feel like their shimmers have even gotten more consistent over time. More recently, I've tried the mattes. I did a look with the mattes the other day that was just like, oh, it's so smooth, it's so even. Some kind of unique options in here with this sort of like plummy brown, this kind of wheat looking color here, like a nice kind of gradient of light shades to help you smooth and blend things out. I mean, this is a really good basic palette. And then something else I've already used on my channel. This is not exactly the same format as those. They also have some more colorful ones, a couple different color schemes available there, but the Pink Nudes palette is also going to be just under $5, and you get blushes and highlights and then your shadows up top. Granted, nothing in this palette goes too dark. It's a great kind of grab it and go natural thing because, like, I would say this shade over here, maybe this shade are your deepest options, but it creates a beautiful look. I'll link to the video where I use that. Today, I think I'm gonna go with the smoky palette and maybe go with a little different kind of look than I did the last time. And you're gonna find good deals throughout the entire entire Profusion line. You're gonna see some bigger palettes that are like $10, $12, and those are gonna be some good deals too. But under the $5 mark, this is a pretty complete palette. Same with the mattes, a very like good light to dark mix, everything you need. I've been so happy with them. I don't know that they get a lot of love here or a lot of buzz on YouTube, but I'm thrilled that they're so handy and so available, you know, just in my Walmart store. So going into Nutmeg, you will notice a little bit of powder kick up when you use these, but on the bright side, there's a softness that is very, very easy to blend. So I got this rosiness, this real pretty dusty rose going in my crease. I mean, such easy buildup of color without having to dip in one more time for either eye. So I've got that beautiful crease shade. That again is the color Nutmeg right up here. I'm gonna buff out around the edge a little bit. I even think I fairly easily worked that to the inner part of my crease, which I don't always do. Then what? Let's take a little bit of Sandstorm just casually with this brush and let that come over the outside. I like how even though this is a smoky palette, it's not like 100% super cool, you know? A lot of cool tone shades, but you've got options in here. Then I'm gonna take Pure and use that as my highlight. So everything's been matte so far here for us. Super easy to just kind of overlap those shades and let them basically just lay down and do the blending for you. Now I don't think I've used this shade called Bling before, so I'm gonna use that today. It's kind of like a very, very light taupey silver. Give a little pressure to the lid and a gentle swipe, and you see that shade really laying down nicely. Press and swipe. And this is getting on about the inner part of my lid. Then I would like to see a little bit of this plummy color called Bewitched. This does have a little shimmer to it. It's not gonna show up like super purple, but I think you'll sense a little bit of plum coming through. Now I think I'll use my crease brush just to let any product, any of that plummy shade that was getting toward my crease, just help that work in there a little bit more. I'm kind of tempted to brighten even more. Oh yeah, I've got a little bit of that Twinkle shade just on my finger and just patting a little bit of that right in here. That's really metallic, but it's very pretty. And then I'm going to take a little bit of Raven, which is our beautifully intense matte black. And I'm taking this small crease brush, it's a Morphe brush, and I'm just kind of swirling it here in my outer corner. And I'm gonna let that buff out from the eye just ever so slightly. So I'm starting in the crease where I want the most depth. And I kind of let that color pull outward just a little bit. Nothing says 4th of July afternoon barbecue like a smoky eye, right? I just love how complete this palette is though, like under $5 and I need nothing additional. And it's not just like, okay, I'll just make it work. No, everything really has been designed and chosen really nicely for this, I think. Fully matte look, sure. Add in some pops of shimmer. They got that too. Just a little Nutmeg, just because I kind of like easing out of a darker color with something that's just a little lighter. Under the eye, I think I'll reach for some more Bewitched. So that's our plum here. Again, not going to show up with a lot of purple intensity, but just depending on what you're layering up over, it'll show a little more if it's going over something lighter. But I'm just kind of using this to lightly define my eye. Eyeliner wise, can I tell you, I really did not come up with anything I was purely in love with for a favorite eyeliner under $5. I've definitely got drugstore ones that I like. The Milani 17-hour liquid liner I think is so good. Also, of course, the Revolution Renaissance Flick if you like a liner pen, but they're both between $5 and $10. And I was looking around what I had. I was trying to price some things that I had and think like, well, could this work? But I wasn't confident enough in it, so I didn't want to name one just for the sake of like coming up with something to say in this video. am going to use my Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Highlight today though, which is under $5, and allow this to brighten up my lower inner rim a little bit, kind of widen out the eye. We've got a lot of darkness surrounding. Yes, this is called Ultimate Brow Highlight, but it lasts better than anything in the lower inner rim if you're looking for brightness. Then we're just going to dive in and curl the lashes, and the mascara I'm going to use, I can find this consistently on Amazon for under $5, $4 and change, the CoverGirl Supersizer, and it's so good. Like really, when it's all said and done, this mascara from the drugstore is phenomenal. I do like Lash Paradise as well. It gives you kind of a nice fluffy lash look, but Supersizer, I mean, every time I use it, I'm a little bit like taken aback by how well it lengthened out, made me look like I had a lot of lashes. And here's the deal with the brush, in case you're not familiar. Should probably show that. There are sides to this that don't actually have any bristles on them. So you can see some, they're rubber bristles, but then you turn it and there's not any. And what that lets you do is as you apply, like you can apply a flat side that lays some product down on your lashes, but then you switch to one of the comby sides and let it come up through. You know what I mean? And it builds on itself really well. Like you can be using this wand and not dip back into product real frequently because there is some resting on those flat parts of the brush. So there's a little something to know. It's not completely like a foolproof mascara. It takes a little getting used to. That's why it did not make it into my products that are easy to put on video. I think it becomes easy. I think it takes some time though. It's kind of interesting to go with this look with just mascara and eyeshadow, no liner, because typically when I do a look like this, it's just mascara. My eyeshadow look is a little bit softer, but I feel like the shadow is pretty dramatic today. But yet we skipped the liner, and you can do that. Oh, another good under $5 mascara though is the Essence I Love Extreme Crazy Volume Mascara. I do really like that one. I haven't used it in a while. It's $4 and change at Ulta. Essence has some good under $5 things here and there. I mean, they've got, if you're looking for individual blushes, Pure Nude Highlighter I really like. But when I was really seeking out like the best of the best for this video, Profusion with that blush palette, I couldn't deny that value. Is just so good, and the products in it were so nicely chosen, I felt. Another thing I actually feel confident enough to do with this mascara is apply a little bit on my lower lashes. It actually wears pretty well. Okay, we've made it to lips. We can finally work with these freshly exfoliated lips, and I've got several things to talk about here. I've got a lip liner. This is from Essence, and that's the Soft Contouring Lip Liner, and this is just, I think, a good standard basic lip pencil, and this is in the shade Big Proposal. Works with so many looks, kind of on the pinky side, so it can work for a pinky nude for me, or even into a berry type color, but I'm just gonna pop it on so you can see what it looks like all over. It's pretty creamy. Other drugstore lip liners that I like that might be over the $5 mark would be Milani's, NYX slide-on lip liners last a really long time, but I've been using this one quite a bit. See that gentle kind of dusty rose just filling things in? I like that a lot. Here's another product, the e.l.f. Pout Perfector. I want to show this just going directly on top of this lip liner. This was the lip topper before lip toppers became a big thing. But look at this. It's got kind of a rosy tone to it and some shimmer. And it just comes in this one shade. And you put that, kind of pop it on the center of the lower lip, and it's like instant fullness, instantly a little more glam there. I really love that. Just gonna throw it out there. This is under $5. My Nivea Blackberry Lip Care. This is so, so good. I love the tone on the lips. I love the moisturization, great fruity scent. Raved about this in a few videos recently, so you know about it. It is so good. It's a newer product at Ulta. Now we're gonna kind of get this stuff off, and I'm gonna tell you about a few lipsticks that I like. One is from Believe Beauty. That's my Dollar General brand, which I have quite a few. I like their eyeshadow palettes. I like some of their other powder products. A lot of that stuff runs right at $5, however. I didn't want to be making exceptions left and right for that under $5 rule, but they do have some good bronzers and highlights. But I think $3 or $4, they've got this Satin Crush lipstick, and this shade called Vintage Romance, I think is so pretty. So let me just try this on for you. It's very full colored, and I just love this particular color. It's kind of a cool rosy shade and it's so creamy, and just one swipe across the lips will do it. But don't you love that color? Isn't that kind of fun? Like a cooler pink, but it's not too bubblegummy and light. I just really like that. The other day I was wearing this with the Pout Perfector on the center of the lip. I thought it was really great, and the lip liner works well with it too. And then I was realizing that Revlon's Super Lustrous line at Walmart is all under $5, and I have enjoyed that line of lipstick for some time. They make several formulas. You can get matte, you can get sheer, you can get cream, you can get more of a frosty finish lipstick. But talk about a classic, a drugstore classic, you know, cherries in the snow. There are some iconic shades in this line, but I've got a couple that are kind of newer to me that I wanted to share with you. One is called Bare Affair, and this is a cream formula. We're talking nude here. Let me get this on. So creamy. Nice amount of shine left behind on the lips with the cream formula. I find this to be a very flattering nude. I think it's got a little bit of pink. It's not too terribly light, but just like a very workable everyday nude, and so comfortable on the lips. And another thing I like about Revlon's tubes is there's a nice little bit of, like, it doesn't feel loose as you twist it down. It actually feels rather expensive, these tubes do. Over the years, one of the things Revlon makeup I think has been most consistent with has been lip colors. So that's definitely an example of that. Another shade is this Berry Smoothie color, and this is one of their sheers. So let's try this on and show it to you. It does feel even thinner going across the lips than that cream. And that's just kind of one go around. I could build it up a little bit more color-wise. But how wearable and so just buttery on the lips. And I think, was this shade not inspired or kind of taken from the Lip Butters line, Berry Smoothie? That was a much loved shade from that range. And to me, it's the very same tone. It's like they've kind of turned it into a permanent lipstick. Also, a small detail here, but important, they will indicate the colors on the bottoms, and you can see through to the tops of the Super Lustrous lipsticks as well. And I wish more drugstore lipsticks would do that. Now guys, I am super impressed with this look that we turned out. For all products being under $5, I just love the way it all came together. I get really excited and satisfied when I find something that claims to be full coverage, and it really is, and that foundation and concealer definitely did it. The bronzer, the setting powder were really good. The blush palette was a star. The eyeshadow palette was another star. Both of those from Profusion. Plenty of lip options out there. But guys, I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful if you're really trying to keep your makeup spending within a budget. It was comforting to prove to myself that even though, you know, with a lot of newly released things, the prices will be a little higher. You know, there's still a lot of great quality out there for $5 or less. So thanks again for your time, everyone. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click like if you liked it, and let me know your video requests in the comments section. I'd love to hear. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.